Welcome back to the video series. Today let's try to explore what is a hackathon and how do you win a hackathon. So first of all, what is a hackathon? Normally when people try to hear the word hackathon, it seems to be very sophisticated or very complex, like a geeky word. But trust me, it is not very geeky as it sounds. So a hackathon is nothing but a competition that has a predefined or a fixed problem statement and a fixed amount of time within which this particular problem has to be solved. I keep getting a lot of requests and queries from people about competition that's been hosted. How do I find out the right hackathon? Where do I try to explore? Or rather, where do I find out that a particular hackathon has been hosted? So I'll give you a few resources. Platforms like DevPost, HackerEarth, Angel Hacks, Dare to Compete. Such sites do give you a lot of opportunities for participating in hackathons, and they do have a lot of list of hackathons that one can participate in and win amazing set of prizes. Coming to the most important part of this video, how can you participate in a hackathon and win the same? I have my own set of fixed rules that I follow, and I would like to share this with you guys in this session. So first thing is, see, there are two kinds of hackathons that normally happen. One is a hackathon with a fixed set of problems. So let's say it can be an agri-tech based hackathon. So wherein the whole theme of that particular hackathon is to solve problems regarding agriculture. Now, if you go to an open-ended hackathon or open-based hackathon, so there might not be any set of problem statements given. Anybody can find a particular problem, solve that, and submit the solutions. So I'll try to discuss, a set of rules that can be followed, a systematic set of guidelines that can be followed for both kind of hackathons. So first thing is to identify the right set of problem. So I always keep telling my students that we are lucky to be born in a developing country, because in a developing country you have hundreds and thousands of problems. So let's say you look around, you have, let's say, waste problems, pollution, security issues, safety issues. Hundreds of problems are there around you if you look at it. So try to pick up the most relevant problem statement at that given point of time is the first task. So there is a particular quote which says that a well-defined problem is half solved. So first thing is identify the right set of problems. So there are hundreds of problems regarding agriculture as well. So in order to find the right set of problem statement, if it is not in your domain, then try to speak to people who are associated with that domain. So it can be farmers. So try to find out people in that particular domain who actually do the job, not in the top levels. Try to meet the people at mid-level or low-level employees in a particular domain and try to understand their problems. That is point number one. Now moving on to point number two, list down the solutions. Now a particular problem can be solved in multiple ways, right? So what we do is, after you identify the problem, list down the solutions that are possible. So after you have listed down your solutions, next thing is forming a core team. So this is one thing that can determine on how well you can prepare your project or your solution. So if it is a solution that involves tech, then try to get somebody in that particular domain. So in your team, you'll have to have one person who is good at tech and can solve this problem technically. So that alone will not help you win a hackathon. Second thing is, a business model is very important for a hackathon. So no matter what product you build or solution or services that you do, you need to have a strategic plan on how you can push this particular product or service into the market. So second thing is, every team needs to have 2 people at minimum. I mean, there are hackathons wherein one person can also participate and win, but I would recommend at least having about 2 people, because one can focus on the tech and the second one can focus on the business model. Now you can also have a third person depending again on the complexity of your solution. So ideal team size would be 2 to 3. Otherwise it becomes like too many cooks spoil the broth. A lot of people will have their own opinions, ideas, and everybody wants their idea to be implemented here. So that would sort of waste time for people who are serious about winning a hackathon. So try to restrict your team size to 2 or 3 if the project or the solution is comparatively less complex. So if it is slightly complex and it cannot be done by 2 or 3 people, then you will have to form your team accordingly. So once you are done forming the team and trying to find out solutions, now as I told, there might be 10 solutions for a single problem. Now you need to identify which solution fits in the best for this. So that can be determined to 2 or 3 parameters. One thing is, look at the time frame for your hackathon. So certain hackathons can be 24-hour hackathon or a 48. So during these 48 hours or 24 hours, you're supposed to be sitting and working. So people tend to eat, sleep, chit chat. So if you're very focused on this, then those 24 hours of your time has to be utilized to develop a solution. So next thing is, now there might be 10 set of solutions, or let's say 2 solutions. Now one might take me around 1 month or let's say 1 week to build, but the only time frame that I have is only 24 hours. Second thing is slightly less complicated but a direct approach and might take me only say about 12 hours to build. So focus on solutions that you can build within the given time frame. So at the end of every hackathon, everybody expects to see at least some product or a prototype, right? So for that, you will have to build a particular solution which has to be done within the given time frame, not a research topic that will take about 3 months, 6 months to find a solution. So having done you building your solution, your business model, I also try to make another video about business canvas model. So which will help you on trying to smoothen the part of the business model during a hackathon. So once you're done building the solution and the business model, next thing is about the presentation part. So try to involve people, let's say if it's done by 2 to 3 people, try to involve all these people while you're pitching the idea. So second thing is try to stick on to the time limit. So normally the time limit would be about 3 to 5 minutes per presentation. So try to stick on to this particular time. So I had a previous experience wherein I had one of the participant in one hackathon trying to have 20 slides just for a 5-minute presentation with a lot of text involved. So I did warn the candidate earlier that try to reduce the text and reduce the slides number. So I would personally recommend about 3 to 5 slides at the maximum for a presentation of about 5 minutes. You will not get extra points if you prepare another 10 slides, right? So try to stick on to the time limit of about say 3 to 5 minutes of presentation, and the slide number to be about 3 to 5. Now coming to the point, the way you organize your slides, first thing is explain the problem statement. As I told earlier, a well-defined problem statement is half solved. So explain your problem statement with the required statistics. So a particular problem might require you to show a few stats. So try to explain this problem statement with numbers so that it is easier for people to understand the complexity of the problem or how relevant the problem is. So after you are done defining your problem statement, next thing is define the solution. So how unique and how different is your solution when compared to the ones in the market? That should be a second slide. Now third slide is, so after you have defined your solution, next thing has to be on how can you get this particular product or a service to the market. So your third slide has to consist of your business model. So 3 things to be taken care of. Define the problem statement properly, define your solution. If it is an existing solution, just try to mention how different is your product or service when compared to the ones in the market. Third thing is the business model. So 3 things to be taken care of while pitching for a hackathon. So a lot of people might ask me, what all technologies do I focus on? What all things do I need to study to prepare for a hackathon? I personally believe that there are 5 fundamental technologies that can help you win almost any and every hackathon. So the first one is nothing but with microcontroller to do the basic sensing and the automation part of it. Second thing would be IoT. So let's say I'm trying to measure temperature of a particular room for the next 1 month time or 1 year. So basic sensing is done through a temperature sensor and a microcontroller. So which will aggregate, let's say, calculate the average temperature per day and store it into the microcontroller. Now that is in the first part, so wherein you require sensing and automation. Now automation part can be wherein, let's say, the temperature goes high, more than 30 degrees Celsius, the fan or AC would automatically turn on. So after you do the sensing part, sensing and automation, you'll have to go to the IoT part. Now IoT is wherein, let's say, whatever data has been captured or sensed has to be transferred to the cloud. So wherein people can analyze the data as well, or at least see the data that's coming in. After you're done with the sensing and sending data to the cloud, third thing would be to see the data that's been sent to the cloud. So wherein you need to learn about web development and app development. So we are done with capturing the data, sending it to the cloud, and now previewing the data. Now previewing the data alone will not make a lot of sense. you need to analyze the data. That's where machine learning or AI comes into picture. So these 4 technologies along with 3D printing and 3D designing will give you an extra hand when compared to any other competitors in a hackathon. So these 5 fundamental technologies are normally used wherever you go for almost any hackathon that you participate, right? So it can be either purely web-based or purely hardware-based, purely software-based. So wherever you go, these 4 technologies plus 3D printing and 3D designing is yet another domain that can be focused on. Any product that you make needs to have a casing, right? Or rather a design on how it will look, so that you can present it to the judges who are judging this particular competition. So these 5 technologies, I call them as Fab 5. So with these technologies, you can normally win almost any and every hackathon if followed in the systematic order as I told earlier. If you are able to pitch the problem statement, explain the solution, as well as build the proper business model, then you should be able to win a hackathon. I hope this session was informative to you. So if at all you have any queries or would like to discuss it further, you can always drop a message on my social media and I'll be happy to help you out. Thank you.